Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about, I want to expound on one of the videos that I did called Resignation Day. But before I get into my topic for today, uh, I hope everybody's having a good day. Uh, and I just say, just keep God number one. And so today I want to talk about my eyeglasses. I got new eyeglasses today. I got new eyeglasses. I forgot to mention in some of my other videos. I actually got this eyeglasses about 3 months. I mean, not 3 weeks ago, and I forgot to mention. And so yeah, I got new eyeglasses because my eye plan, my eye insurance allows me to get new eyeglasses uh every 2 years. But usually my insurance, they only pay about 20 to 30%. So when I go get new eyeglasses, even though they give me like a 20 30% discount, I always end up paying more uh, for my eyeglasses. I have a lot of out of pocket costs, what I want to say, for eyeglasses. So yeah, I got new eyeglasses. It's actually a Nike brand. And so I wanted to get a kind that was like a everyday wear. And so yeah, here's a close up of my new eyeglasses, and it's like a two-tone. The inside you can see is like blue. There's a blue, and so it's like a little bit of a the earpiece is like a two-tone color. It's a Nike brand, they say. And so yeah, new eyeglasses. Uh Also I want to talk about that by the time that I publish this video, I should have new flooring. This week coming up. November the 11th, there's going to be installation of new flooring. And I had already started, I had already put down the down payment for my new flooring, and I had money put away. So even though the installation of my new flooring is happening at a time when I lost income, but I had already put down a down payment for the installation, and I had already saved up money. And so, yeah, I'm getting new flooring. It's mainly going to be in my, it's going to be in my kitchen, my dining room area, the bathroom. I have two bathrooms, so yeah, they're supposed to take up those floors, and they're going to put down new flooring. And so I hope to do a video, or at least show the new flooring that I'm getting. It's much needed because the issue was with my flooring is that uh, my home is like, I bought this home back in 2005, I want to say. I bought this home, it was brand new. Everything was brand new. But over the time, my floors started squeaking. And so I had work done on the squeaky spots on my floors. And it was another handyman service. Uh, but when they came, the floors that are in place right now is like a peel and stick. And so when I started having problems with my flooring being squeaky spots, I had someone to come in to try to fix the squeaky spots, and uh, they they it was like there was a section of the flooring uh, that they made more stronger. But then there was a section that they did not touch. And so there's like half of a section where it's still squeaky spots, but the section that the handy person, the section that they worked on, it was pretty sturdy. But when uh, they went to fix the flooring to try to fix the squeaky spots, they had to take up the peel and stick, uh, the spill and tick, the peel and stick towel. They had to take that completely out. And then there was a section that new subfloor and was put in, and it was also sister joisted. Uh, and by them doing that, they said that would help uh, so that it wouldn't be squeaky. And so the section that they did repair, it was stronger. It is stronger, but there was a section that they did not, because they said, "Well, we didn't know that there was a problem. You told us it was it was one section, but it seemed it turned out to be more of the flooring in my kitchen area that squeaks that initially was not repaired. So now I got some of the, even though after the people had did some work on my flooring the first time, uh, they tried to put the original flooring, they tried to glue that back, uh, but now it's peeling backwards and exposing my subfloors. And so yeah, by the time I publish this, I should have new flooring. They're coming November the 11th to put new flooring, and hopefully to try to fix the other squeaky spots that I'm having with my flooring. And so that's what's going on with my flooring. And so today's video, as I said, I wanted to expand on another video where I was talking about my resignation day. And so a lot of times I try to learn something, whether it's good or bad, learn something uh, from what happened to me. And so um, as I look back on uh, the the things that were going on at that job. Now I want to say that not everything was bad, and but I think the biggest problem was um, how I went about my work. Um, I'm the kind of person, I go into a job and uh, I just like to get my job done, and I just like to do my work. I'm more of a task oriented person. So that means I just focus on, doing a task, completing a task. But I come to realize that not everybody comes to work uh, with that same mentality to try to just do a job and get and go home. And so that can cause like a conflict on the job. And I was reading, I was seeing in other places people who advise about workplace situations. One advice was saying that um, when you're having issues on a job, the best thing to do is to document, and then not only to document, then to try to to have people on the job who's on your side, you know, um, and another thing, you document, you try to uh, get who people who can vouch uh, or refute the things that other people try to do. And so it was advised to do those things, and all of that, is almost like what some people say, uh, to cover your ass, CYA. Uh, the documentation covers you because in the end, it's like almost like a game of chess because sometimes people play games on the job, and you can come into the job with good intentions. You can come into a job, work hard, and be the hardest worker. But then where there's a conflict, if you have a coworker that doesn't have that mentality, they're coming into the job, and they're trying to get out on work, and they're trying to do the least on the job. But the conflict comes when, and these are the people who likes to come to work and socialize, or who likes to try to form cliques on the job. And so it could becomes a conflict then with the person who comes to work and try to do their job and go home. Now, as in my case, you're conflicting with a person who have other things in mind when they come into work. They want to get out of work. They want to do the least. And so, what I found out that, yeah, it's best then every time you have a problem to be able to document. Document is a And that was one of the things that, I was not doing. And so I remember when I first came there, there was an issue. There was a big issue. They asked me to train. They asked me to train a person, and the person was a younger lady. She must have been about 30. And like I said, I'm in my 50s, and I had to train her. And when I went to train her, then it was like, um, she didn't want to. She didn't even want me to train her. You know, uh, and so it was like she was trying to train me, and it was a very tense. A very tense situation because now I'm asked to train somebody who doesn't want to be trained, but they want to turn around and train me. And so it was a very tense situation, and that was the first problem that I had on the job when I was asked to train somebody who came into the training and was that came into the training uh, and gave me problems. And so it was like I didn't document that situation, but I thought it was kind of strange because there are many times that I was asked to train people, and very rarely do people come into training, and refuse to be trained, but want to turn around and train and be the one to train me. And so, yeah, it was a bad situation, and the situation kind of got escalated, and uh, we it required that the that H&R and our and the supervisor get involved, and so it turned out that I had to have a meeting. It was me. It was the person I was training. It was supervisor, and it was my H&R, and had to have a meeting about what was going on between me and a new hiree. And so yeah, it just seems like nothing much came of that the meeting. And so but when I think about it, the mistake that I made is that I did not document the uh exactly, because a lot of times as time go on, you kind of forget uh exactly what the person did. You forget the day, you forget the time. And so uh these things can be uh helpful uh because you in the long run, you can end up getting retribution. And so that was one of the problem that I was having. And then there was another problem that I was having. Often I was asked to drive the company vehicle. And so one day I was in the company vehicle, and some of the coworkers were sitting outside, and all of a sudden, and I pulled up to a parking lot where some of the other coworkers were sitting out. And all of a sudden, inside the company vehicle that I was driving, the phone started ringing in the company vehicle. And I was like, wow, uh, wow, that's kind of strange. And so it was like somebody was making a phone call uh, while I was operating the vehicle, and somebody was making a phone call because somebody had that was sitting outside when I pulled up to that parking lot. When I pulled up to that parking lot, somebody had a phone that uh, was paired with the company vehicle, and they were playing games, uh, making phone calls. And so when I pulled up, all of a sudden the vehicle that I'm operating and making phone calls. So the vehicle I pull up is making a phone call because somebody is playing games, because they done paired they phone up to the vehicle, but I never saw who was doing that. And I kind of fixed them, because what I did was I went into the company vehicle and deleted I deleted all of the paired phones. And yeah, and so that was another problem, but I didn't document. See, when you can document. And then there were issues when, okay, part of my task was to keep the company vehicle clean. And so people, they always create the company, and my supervisor always used to praise me about how clean I kept the company vehicle, because I would often take the company vehicle and I would keep it clean, even though multiple people were using the company vehicle. Uh, it was one of my duties, one of my tasks, to clean the company vehicle. And that was a task that I took on, and I kept the company vehicle clean, and I got a lot of praise for that, because in and I did that on a regular basis. and people liked it. I used to go in, get a car wash, vacuum the floors, and then have it smelling good with the car scents. And I got a lot of praise for that. Keeping the company vehicle, because not too many people uh on a daily basis would keep the company vehicle, because I guess some people feel it's not my vehicle. But I was one of the ones that used to keep the company vehicle clean. But there came a time when there were other people were using the company vehicle that I was keep helping to keep clean. Other people were using it. Other coworkers were using it, and they were dirtying up the company vehicle. And yeah, so that was a problem, because I'm the one who's cleaning it. Then you get other people using the vehicle, and they dirty up the vehicle. And so now, yeah, it's me. I got to go in and get it clean. And so that was another issue that I was having. And so that's my problem. I never documented the day, the time, and I never documented. So I think that that's one of the things that, you know, when you document, then you have the day, you have the time, and it's still kind of fresh in your mind. And so, yeah, so like I was saying, there were incidents uh, of trouble on the job. And and then, um, and let's see, uh, there were incidents with the vehicle. There were, and then, okay, with the situation uh, that led me to resigning, uh, there were other incidents, uh, with in that situation where I was working with a younger coworker who I said in the resignation video, who I said was 20 years old and was Generation Z, uh, and I'm Generation X. Uh, the other coworker, the young coworker, at times, there was times when she would block the garage so that wasn't able uh, to pull into the garage. And uh, to give you more of a background, the work site that I was working at, okay, it was like a house, okay. That was the work site, and they had a driveway, and then they had a garage. It was a two-part garage, and so we kept the company vehicle on one side, and then there was another space for another vehicle. And so I often parked in the garage. And the reason why I parked in the garage was because my work site was near a alley. And it was right there. It was a corner. My work site was a corner work site. And it was near a alley. And oftentimes I worked until midnight. And so at midnight it would be very dark outside, and in that alley uh there wasn't much lighting. And so yeah, because of that, I felt more secure to park my vehicle in the garage rather than to park it outside the garage. And a lot of times, uh, there were two places to park your vehicle. You can park it in the driveway, or you can park it in the garage. But why park it in the driveway? Then I would have to go into my work site. I would have to close the garage, and then I don't know what's going on the other side of the garage. Once I close the garage, I don't know what's going on the other side of the garage. I don't know what goes on, in this dark alley when it get late at nighttime, and my car is sitting out in a driveway. I thought if it was more secure to park in the driveway. And so they started to act funny about me parking in the driveway. Now the problem is that they have a policy. There's a policy, and the policy say that when it's snow out there, uh, you can't park in the driveway, that you must park in the garage. And the reason why on snow days they wanted the workers to park in the garage, uh, uh, the reason why they want workers to park in the garage is because when it's snowing out, they need to have their people come in and plow the driveway, and so they don't want no vehicles parked in the driveway. And so my issue was, it was more secure, and there was no policy against parking in the garage, and it was more secure because the workplace is was near a dark alley, and I was often getting off late at night when it was very dark out. And so, common sense would tell you uh, to park uh, to park. Common sense would tell you to park in the garage where you can pull up in the garage, shut the garage door, and your vehicle would be more secure. It wouldn't be out in the driveway in a dark alley. And so that was the reason why I was pulling up into the garage, because of security issues. And so some of my coworkers were starting to get funny about it. They would block the garage so I couldn't pull my vehicle in the garage. There were cases where the company vehicle. They would double park so I wouldn't be able to pull up into the garage, and these were the people that didn't have to worry about uh, getting off the job and coming into the job when getting off the job when it was very dark out. They didn't have to worry about uh, their vehicles being out there in a dark alley. Uh, in the dark alley behind the garage doors. And so yeah, so those were incidents. There were problems with me with coworkers giving me a hard time about parking in the garage. And uh the thing about it was I did it because of security issues. It was more secure for me to park in the the garage, and some of my coworkers were giving me hard problems, and so that was another problem that I was having. And it was mainly it was the younger that I spoke of in my resignation video. It was that younger coworker, the one uh, the one who left me a whole lot of work to do. She was the one who was blocking the garage, so I wouldn't. She would have her car parked. She would have her car parked in the driveway, and so when I pulled up to the driveway to go to work, uh, I couldn't pull up into the garage because she was blocking. Yeah, and so it was her, the younger coworker, and so that was another. And so that was another issue that I was having. And so I say all this is that my problem was is that I was having a lot of issues, uh, and I wasn't documenting all these different incidents that I was having. And so it's best to document because when it's fresh in your mind, then you have the exact date, the exact time, and it'd be more fresher in your mind what happened, and you could use that. And so uh, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times when you go into a workplace, people try to give you problems, especially when they know that you're the kind of person who's kind of quiet, who comes into work and just do their job, a person who uh, don't have too many too a person who doesn't have a whole lot of backup on the job. And so you can become a target. And I think that that was the case in my problem, that I was an easy target because I was quiet. I never hardly say nothing. Uh, I came in, I do my work. And so I believe that I was target, and that's why they were giving me a lot of problems on the job. And the thing about it, I had nobody to vouch for me. Uh, and so I had nothing set up where I could have somebody to vouch for me. And so that's one of the things that I learned, that is documentation, and if you can, to get somebody to vouch uh, for for you. And so those were the two problems that I was having. And I found out that a lot of times when people try to bother folks on the job, the thing about it is that I think they kind of run on the fact that they will never be held accountable. And so they can continue to ride your back. They can continue, you could continue to have incidents on the job like I was having, because nothing happens. And the problem is that when you're having incidents on the job, and it takes a toll on your mental it takes your toll on your mental capacity. It causes such like emotional distress, and and this is what leads up to it. If you haven't been documenting, then you don't have the specifics of it. And so um this was what I was having trouble with. And so I think that no human being should have power over another human being, but there are people who run games in life. There are people who just run over people who are quiet, people who run over people who stay to themselves. There are people who run over people who don't have a whole lot of backup. And so they run over that person, and may cause a person a whole lot of emotional distress. And the thing about it, these things are hard to prove. They're hard to prove. They're hard to try to unravel, uh, to get somebody to see your point of view. And so it becomes a situation where uh, then you're harmed by what other people do to you. Uh, and while all the time what they're doing, they know that it will harm you. Uh, but it's pretty hard to show that, that's what they were trying to do. It's hard to try to get these things to show. And what I found out is that try to do people who do underhanded stuff like that, these are the people who don't want to be ever held accountable. And I think that most of the time they're not accountable. And people are traumatized by these things, but they're traumatized by it, but they don't know how to go about dealing with the situation. And so as long as the person who's being traumatized by what another person is doing, as long as what the other person doing, as long as they don't have to be accountable, then they continue to traumatize, and you continue to have incidents, like I was describing some of the incidents that I was having on the job. And so, yeah, I believe that, sometimes it's just kind of hard to get to try to prove your case, because it's sometimes kind of hard, and sometimes maybe documentation, because then you have the specifics of incidents. Uh, then you have the specific of incidents, and so this is what I came to talk about today in this blog. I wanted to talk about how when people are traumatizing, causing emotional trauma, sometimes these things are hard to track, and especially if you don't have documentation, and especially if you don't have witness, especially if you don't have other people who could vouch or stand up, other people who would stand by your side when things are things are not right. Often sometimes people they oftentimes people they they work with the person who causes the trauma. They work with them because it's easier, and to not work with them, then they will give them problems. Yeah, and that was the case with me, because I was working with a coworker and we never had problems. Like I said in my other video, when I was working with a coworker, and she was an older coworker, and I never had any real problems. And she never, in the 3 years that I was working with her, complained about my work. But when another coworker got hired, then there started be trouble on the job, and the other coworker, the older coworker, started acting funny and started giving me problems, and so it was like I was being ganged up on then. And so, yeah. So in this video, I talk about, you know, how it's important to document. And a lot of times when people are giving other people trouble, sometimes these things are hard to try to deal with, you know. And I think too that the workplace, a lot of workplaces, they don't have anything in place, uh, or how you should go. They don't have any policy or anything. They might have something about harassment or something, but it's also important to know the company's policy uh, when it counts, because when people start giving you trouble on the job, as I was having, a lot of times that's harassment, you know, because you should be able to go into your job. You should be able to do your job, you know. I can see if it's something uh, job related, uh, uh, but to be given a hard time on the job, you know, sometimes, or or when you have a coworker coming up to you, trying to tell you how to do your job, and she's not your supervisor. See, sometimes people want to try to tell you what to do, your how to do your job, and they don't have the authority, and so that becomes harassment. You know, you can't, if you don't have the authority to tell a person how to do their job, then you shouldn't be coming up to your coworker's face. And that was the problem that I was having with the younger coworker, because there were like two incidents. She was coming up to me, and she was telling me about my work, and then not only uh, telling me about how I should do my work and stuff, but she it was like she didn't have the authority. She should have, like I did, she should have went to the supervisor, you know, if she had a problem with me. Uh yeah, and so some people don't have the authority, and she was trying to give me problems, you know, trying to tell me what to do when she did not have the authority. And so a lot of times it's important to know the company's policy. A lot of times it's important to keep documentation when you're on these jobs, because, and then, you know, and, you know, but me, I only, the way that I dealt with it, I just resigned. But sometimes, you know, you have to fight back, you know, uh, because if you don't fight back, that makes it easier for you to become a quitter. And so this is what my vlog is about. It's about, you know, how to handle difficult situations on the job.